It's about our collective future in the universe. Our international team, centered at MIT's Space Propulsion Lab, is working to send the first ever student-led CubeSat to Mars. Our vision is to unite humanity under one mission, with the goal of landing a time capsule of humanity on the surface of the red planet. Time Capsule to Mars aims to involve every country in the world, while maximizing both the amount of new technology tested and the value of science returned. We hope it will be the first private mission to Mars. It will be the first interplanetary trial of ion electrospray propulsion, a technology with the promise to reduce transport time to Mars to a mere 4 months. It will carry a digital time capsule containing media encoded with the audio, video, and photographic data of millions of people around the world, including the human genome. Our technical team will invite along on the ride K through 12 age kids who, via the internet, can access their own personalized, curriculum-based mission control and come along for the ride. They will be able to virtually come along on the journey, from uploading their picture, tracing its progression through the solar system, and watching their landing of their picture on Mars. The interactive mission is designed to renew the inspirations of an old generation, while introducing the new generation to the wonders of space exploration. It is meant to inspire anyone to be an astronaut, a scientist, a colonist. This type of global immersive outreach didn't exist when I was young. But now, being able to watch my crayon-drawn Martian picture land on Mars, that's our mission. And on top of it all, our multi-million-dollar mission expects to be the largest crowd-funded effort in history. Our formal announcement is just weeks away now. Our goal is to make the adventure of colonizing another planet one that is once again shared by a unified humanity, taking this giant leap together, with purpose, with respect, with community. You see, it's not about the boots or the landers or the robots. It's about us, we the people, Spaceship Earth. Think back to your own early formative years and what got you excited about space. Perhaps it was glow-in-the-dark stars, E.T., or siblings you wanted to send on a one-way mission to Mars. Think about how cool it would have been to take something of your own, a baseball hat, a card, a drawing, and stick it on a spaceship headed for the moon. What would you want to immortalize? Well, we hope you'll grab your camera, snap a selfie, and come along for Earth's time capsule ride to Mars. I would like to thank the National Space Club for the incredible opportunity to be your keynote speaker tonight, as well as the immensely generous scholarship that they have awarded me to support my education. The investment that this nonprofit organization is making in the future of our country's aerospace program is indisputable and admirable. I would also like to congratulate the other award winners tonight. I've snuck a peek at your achievements, and you are setting the bar very high for my generation. Indeed, tonight I am honored to stand in front of the most influential individuals in our fields who have laid the groundwork to make it possible for me to be here today, doing what I love. It's so easy to get caught up in today's industry discussions of the minutiae of space travel, of radiation exposure, punctured rover tires, of dust storms, but I would urge us not to lose sight of the big picture of what we are collectively accomplishing here. We are on the verge of the first interplanetary habitation. We are all working towards a future in which humanity has expanded spacewards to thousands of new worlds, and instead of hopping from couch cushion to couch cushion, we're hopping from planet to planet. That is where our collective future lies, and I look forward to working with all of you and exploring this infinite, this final frontier. Thank you.
Thank you, Emily. Your passion is truly contagious, and I think the future of our industry will be in very good hands. I'd now I'd now like to turn to the recognition of our award winners by starting with our 2 additional scholarship recipients. The Olin E. Teague Memorial Scholarship of $4,000 is given to an outstanding graduating high school student who intends to pursue higher education in science and technology. This year's recipient is Moira Miller, a senior at Washington Lee High School in Arlington, Virginia. Moira is being recognized for her work testing a new method of measuring sediments on Mars. Moira Miller. Our next award goes to the winner of the 2014 Dr. Robert H. Goddard Scholarship. This $10,000 award is given to an outstanding student who plans to pursue undergraduate or postgraduate studies in science and engineering. This year's Goddard Scholarship goes to Michael Lotto, a student at the University of Colorado at Boulder, to support his continued study in the bioastronautics aimed at development of future extravehicular activity suits and hardware to support human exploration in space and exploration of the planets. Michael Lotto. Our next award winners were nominated and selected by their peers and leaders in each of their fields of expertise. Honoring the first director of the National Reconnaissance Office, the Dr. Joseph V. Cherick Award recognizes individuals who have made outstanding contributions to the National Intelligence Space Program and specifically in support of the mission of the NRO. This year's award goes to Dr. Daryl Zimbelman, the program manager responsible for delivering 2 major system acquisitions at the NRO. He is honored for leading his team to overcome seemingly insurmountable challenges in the reactivation of a top priority program for the Director of National Intelligence. This program is providing unprecedented intelligence to the nation's warfighters, the intelligence community, and the President of the United States. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Daryl Zimbelman. The Noah David Johnson Award recognizes the achievements of young professionals who have shown outstanding innovation in the use of satellite data for operational environmental applications. Please join me in recognizing Dr. Craig Ferguson, Research Associate at the Atmospheric Sciences Research Center at SUNY Albany, for his scientific work determining if climate and weather models correctly represent land-atmospheric coupling states. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Craig Ferguson. The Space Club Educator Award was established to recognize the importance of teachers in motivating and guiding students. We present this award to Brian Grigsby, a science teacher at Shasta High School in Redding, California. Brian is honored for his work in inspiring and developing the next generation of students in space science through creative programs, competitions, and extensive participation of his students in NASA and other space education programs. Brian Grigsby. The Astronautics Engineer Award is presented annually in recognition of an aerospace engineer who has made outstanding contributions to the National Space Program in the field of engineering or engineering management. Tonight, we recognize Dr. Adam Steltzner, Fellow at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, for his outstanding leadership in the design and development of the Mars Science Laboratory Entry, Descent, and Landing System that successfully landed the Curiosity rover on Mars on August 5th, 2012. Dr. Adam Steltzner. The Nelson P. Jackson Aerospace Award is presented to a government industry team which worked together during the preceding year to make an outstanding contribution to the missile, aircraft, and space field. Please join me in congratulating the X-51A Waverider team being recognized tonight for its barrier-breaking, unmanned, autonomous flight demonstrator that is leading the way to hypersonic flight. Not done quite yet. The X-51A Waverider completed the longest supersonic combustion scramjet-powered flight in history, flying at approximately Mach 5 for 143 seconds. Accepting on behalf of the Waverider team, X-51 Program Manager from Aerojet Rocketdyne, Mr. George Thumb. The Eagle Man Mission Award was established in 1984 through a gift from AXA to the National Space Club Foundation. The 2014 Eagle Man Mission Award is presented to the EVA Console team at NASA's Lyndon B. Johnson Space Center. During a scheduled extravehicular activity mission early on July 16, 2013, International Space Station crew member Luca Parmitano experienced a critical spacesuit failure that could have resulted in a fatality were it not for the actions of the U.S. EVA Console team and fellow EVA crew member Chris Cassidy. The team demonstrated their ability to recognize hazards, analyze the situation, and recommend appropriate actions while under immense pressure. Here to accept the award on behalf of the team is Flight Director David Korth. Established in 2010, the General Bernard Schriever Award honors the father of Air Force space and missile programs. The award highlights excellence in military space operations and acquisition. Tonight, we recognize Lieutenant Colonel Samuel Little, 45th Launch Support Squadron Operation Officer for the U.S. Air Force Space Command. Lieutenant Colonel Little successfully led his squadron as they integrated and launched 6 Department of Defense satellites, provided Air Force support to 3 successful Falcon 9 launches, and piloted the groundbreaking Global Positioning System 3 Pathfinder satellite. Lieutenant Colonel Samuel Little. The National Space Club's Press Award recognizes sustained, decades-long excellence in journalism that has both supported and underscored the importance of our nation's endeavors in space. This year, we acknowledge CBS correspondent William Harwood and honor the late Walter Cronkite, former anchorman from CBS. Mr. Harwood has provided the world with accurate, detailed, and comprehensive coverage of NASA activity at Cape Canaveral and Kennedy Space Center that has earned him the respect of space professionals and made him the leading reporter at the Cape. Mr. William Harwood. For an entire generation of viewers, the late Walter Cronkite was synonymous with the American space program. First as a reporter, and then as CBS Evening News anchorman from 1962 to 1981, his news teams chronicled one of the greatest eras of technical achievement in human history, from Mercury through Apollo and the beginning of the Space Shuttle program. Tonight, we honor the work of Walter Cronkite with a short video tribute.
Stand by, Walter. Okay, you're on.
Well, they're good. Astronaut, good shape. Tracking system.
I think that our conquest of space is one of the great stories of the 20th century.
I don't know any words for this except the trite ones. Tension is mounting here at Cape Canaveral.
Look at this baby, the Saturn V, 363 feet tall.
He really believed in the program, knew all of the astronauts, cared about them.
This is a time for great sadness, national sadness, and certainly the personal sadness of the people in the space program. But it's also a time for courage, and if that sounds trite, I'll change the words to guts.
That's it. Apollo 11, the beginning of man's greatest adventure.
10, 9, ignition sequence start.
Never has there been before, nor will there be, anything like this pioneering adventure.
What a moment. Man on the way to the moon.
The landing on the moon presented an interesting emotional challenge for me. I had just as much time to prepare for that landing as the space program did. I'd watched it from the beginning.
3 feet, 2.5 down. Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
Oh, boy. And yet, when that vehicle landed on the moon, I was speechless.
Boy.
I really couldn't say a thing. Neil Armstrong, 38-year-old American, standing on the surface of the moon.
We are pleased to have Walter's son Chip with us here tonight. Thank you for being with us as we celebrate his legacy. I am now pleased to present the highest honor given this evening, the Goddard Memorial Trophy. The Kepler team's mission is fundamentally altering our understanding of our place in the galaxy. A joint mission between NASA Ames, the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, and Ball Aerospace, Kepler is designed to survey the Milky Way to discover Earth-size and larger planets orbiting in the habitable zone of sun-like stars. That bears repeating. Kepler is designed... Not yet. Oh, yeah. Almost. Kepler is designed to discover Earth-size and larger planets orbiting in the habitable zone of sun-like stars. In November 2013, scientists announced that Kepler had identified 833 new planet candidates, bringing the total number of planets to more than 3,500. And just last week, Kepler scientists announced the validation of a group of 715 of these planetary candidates as true planets. In fact, I understand Donald Trump is looking for naming rights to several of these planets already. Today, an exciting new science mission, K2, is being proposed to expand upon Kepler's groundbreaking discoveries. Congratulations to the Kepler team for opening a new era in astronomy. Accepting on behalf of the Kepler team is William Barucki, Principal Investigator, NASA Ames Research Center.
Thank you very much for that wonderfully historical prize. And I'd like to accept it for the Kepler team and all the people and all the organizations that work so hard to make this mission a success. In particular, I'd like to recognize the people at Ames and at JPL who managed this mission in some rather hard times, and in particular, the Ball Aerospace and Technology Corporation that designed and built this very, very productive mission. We're supposed to get a figure at this point. There we go. I'd like to give you a very brief overview of the mission and show you some of its results. As Jill has pointed out, it's a mission that's designed to find the frequency of planets, Earth-like planets. It's designed to find out whether Earths are rare or common in our galaxy. It is to provide information not only about what we have found, but in fact to provide the information for future missions that will ultimately discover whether these planets have atmospheres and what the composition of those atmospheres might be. Do they have the components that would be appropriate for habitability? Here is some of a sampling of the variety of planets that we have found. We have seen actually more than 3,500 to date, about 3,800 of these planetary candidates. We've confirmed close to 1,000. And I'd like you to see some of the variety here. If you look at the upper left panel, you see a group of planets and you see Jupiter as well to give you the size comparison. Jupiter is the biggest planet in our solar system. And it wasn't many years ago we all knew that there could be no planets bigger than Jupiter, because if you added mass to Jupiter, it simply got denser and denser until finally it turned into a star. In fact, Jupiter is as big as some small stars. But that's not what we found. What we have found, in fact, are planets that are quite a bit bigger than Jupiter, a real puzzle for theoreticians. Next to it on the right is a small planet about 1.4 times the size of the Earth. The Earth's density is something like 5.7 grams per cc. This one is 8.8. It is denser than iron. Its average density is greater than iron. Its orbital period is less than 1 day. So it's very close to its star, and in fact, it's so hot that when you look at its oceans, those are oceans of molten lava or molten iron. There's a planet, or at least an object, to the right that's even hotter. It goes around its star, again, something at the order of 16 hours, and it's so hot it's evaporating. You can actually see the vapor trail there behind it that extends halfway around the orbit. Clearly, we're not looking for those for life on those planets. Luckily, we see quite a large range of other kinds of planets. And the next row down, you see a pair of planets. This pair of planets has almost identical orbital sizes, within 100th of an AU, the diameter of a star. And so you'd say, well, they've got to have the same composition. They came from the same part of the nebula that was forming the star and the planets. Again, a big surprise. One of them is denser than the Earth, so it's a rocky planet. The other one right next to it is a gas planet, density less than water. A big surprise. Next to it is a pair of planets orbiting a pair of stars. If you look at the nighttime sky and wish upon a star, half of the stars you wish upon are binary stars or even multiple star systems. So can they then have planets too? And the answer is yes. Here are 2 planets orbiting that binary star. So again, just so many of the stars in our sky show us planets. Next to it is a planet in the habitable zone, the first confirmed planet that Kepler was able to find. It's in the habitable zone, but it's about 2.4 times the size of the Earth. Rather large, and we think it may well be the kind of planet that has no parallel in our own solar system, a water planet, a planet comprised mostly of compressed water, ices, maybe a steam atmosphere, maybe a water ocean. We simply don't know. To the lower left, we have a group of planets to show you the size range. We saw the big planets, now we look at some of the small planets. Some of the planets there are somewhat smaller than the Earth, maybe some smaller than Mars, and actually one that we have found already that's about the size of the Moon. So we have this huge range of planets that we find. To the right is probably the most interesting group of all. We have 2 planets in the habitable zone. These are our best hope of habitable planets. These are the planets that have the temperatures such that we could expect liquid water on the surface if they have atmospheres. That is not something we can determine. It'll be for a future mission. But these planets in the habitable zone orbit a star that's not quite like the Sun. It's a little bit, they're smaller, the star is smaller and somewhat cooler. We still have some work to do to find the Earth analog. This shows some of the numbers that we're finding. If you look, you see something in the order of 700 Earth-sized planets we have found already. Another 1,100 approximately of planets that are somewhat larger than the Earth, possible rocky planets, possibly, if they're in the right place, that they could be habitable. And then, of course, over 1,000 planets that are Neptune-like, mixtures of gas and rock. And finally, some of the giant planets. And what has this taught us? What do we learn from this? And the answer is that if you look at all our 3,800 candidates, you correct for the biases, it tells us very definitely that most stars have planets. There are billions of planets in our galaxy for us to discover and explore. It tells us that there's a huge number of Earth-sized planets. On the other hand, we're not quite finished. We haven't found that Earth analog yet, but we have about a year of data that we still need to analyze, so we still may find some really important discoveries in this last year of data. And to end, I'd like to read a poem that was sent to us by one of our fans called Somewhere. Somewhere there are mountains glistening in the snow. Somewhere there are mountains that we shall never know. Somewhere there are rivers flowing fast and free. Somewhere there are rivers that we can never see. Somewhere there are oceans and sun-drenched island sands, forests full of creatures in vastly different, distant lands. Somewhere there's a planet beneath an alien star. The people watch our tiny sun and wonder where we are. One day perhaps we'll find them across the void of space. Perhaps through ways as yet not known, we'll meet them face to face. Thank you for this wonderful award.
Thank you, Bill. As we prepare to wrap up for the evening, I would just like to close with a few quick thank yous. First and foremost, I would like to thank this year's dinner chair and my partner in crime, Gary Testoot. I would also like to recognize BAE Systems for the beautiful programs and the Washington Hilton staff for putting on another fantastic event. Further thanks to the amazing Annette Summers and the entire GA team. Finally, I would like to thank my family and friends who are here with me this evening. Your support and encouragement make it all possible. 89. My years of service on the board of the National Space Club have been tremendous. I am truly inspired by the incredibly talented students we have supported and their passion for our industry. The Space Club's dedication to our future generation is so inspiring, and it has been a key factor for my continued service. I am proud to pass on the torch with our youth education initiatives even stronger and still growing. Now, to wrap things up, the night is still young, and we invite you to attend the very